Okay, we're on Algebra 2 Notes 4.3, page 4. And in this section, we actually learn how to multiply two matrices. So in example 8 right here, we're multiplying this matrix, which I'll call matrix A, times this matrix, which is matrix B. And we're first going to test, like we learned on the last video, to see if this is even possible. So A is a 2 by 2 matrix, and B is also a 2 by 2 matrix. And the middle numbers match here, so we know it's possible. And furthermore, the outside pair gives you the size of your answer. We need a 2-row by 2-column matrix. And I've got one set up here, but I'm actually going to redo this a little differently in a second. Okay. Up above here, it says to perform matrix operations or multiplication, multiply the elements of each row from the first matrix by each of the elements in each column of the other matrix. So it's the rows that we use. We're going to use this row and this row in the first matrix. And it's the columns that we use in the other matrix. Now, when we do this, the rows we're going to traverse from left to right. That's pretty natural. But the columns, we go from top down. So let me show you how this works here. Okay, you're going to divide the first matrix into rows. And then you're going to come over and you're going to make a really big matrix over here so that you have room to work. And whatever you divided, the number of rows you divided into, you're going to do it again over here in the answer. So we have a top row and a bottom row separated by a red line. Now the columns in the other one are what you care about. So we're going to divide the columns up in the other one, and you're going to divide the columns up in that one. And you can see that I have 4 spots over there, arranged 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And this gives us a 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. This will eventually give us a 2 by 2 matrix like we were hoping. Okay, now we're going to do the top row, and it uses the numbers 2, 3. And you want to set these up like so. 2, 3 all the way across the top. But we're going to be multiplying by stuff later, so set it up like this. Then you do the same thing with the bottom row, and the bottom row in that first matrix is 4, negative 2. So now that we've got the rows in, now let's put the columns in. The left-hand column on that matrix is 5, negative 1, and you read it in that order, top to bottom. So I'm going to do this, I'll pick a different color here, one that I haven't used. I'll do green here for that one. 5, negative 1 on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, 2, 6. So you can see that these numbers get used all over here on the right, and these numbers get used on the left. And when you put them in, you want to make sure that you do the top, then the bottom. Okay, so now all we have to do is simplify these corners. We'll have our answer. And yes, this is complicated, but there's really not any easier way to do this here. Although I will be showing you on another video how to do it on the calculator to check your work. Okay, the top left corner up here would be 10 minus 3 would be 7. In the next corner here, you're going to have 4 plus 18 is 22. Down here, you have 20 plus 2 is 22 also. And finally, down here, you have 8 minus 12 is negative 4. And so there's your product, 7, 22, 22, negative 4. Okay, so now let's see what we get if we do b times a instead of a times b, and you can see I'm using the same matrices. I've just switched the order. Okay, let's make a little bit of dimensional analysis here. It's going to be really easy here because they're square matrices. Matching numbers, we can do the problem. Our answer has to be 2 by 2. All right, make a big matrix here. And we'll start. Okay, you divide the rows first in the first matrix, and then you switch to dividing the columns in the other matrix. And now we're going to start filling in rows and columns. Across the top, we're going to use 5, 2. Like that. And across the bottom, we're going to use negative 1, 6. Okay, on the left-hand side, we have a column that reads 2, 4 from top down. So I'm going to put 2, 2, 4 on the left-hand side. And the right-hand side is 3, negative 2. All right, all we have to do now is simplify these corners and we'll have our answer. The top left corner, 5 times 2 is 10, 2 times 4 is 8, so you get 18 in that corner. On the next one, you have 15 plus negative 4 would be 11. This corner down here is negative 2 plus 24. That'd be 22. And finally, this corner here is negative 3 plus a negative 12, which is negative 15. So there's your answer. Now let's compare that with what we got when we did it in the other direction. Up here we had a times b, here we had b times a, and you get different answers here, which tells us that matrix multiplication is not, I repeat, not commutative. And the implication of that is that you better get the order right or you'll get a different answer, or maybe it doesn't even give an answer if you switch the order around. So if I ask for CD but you do DC, then you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, we're supposed to multiply these matrices. This one's going to take a lot of room, and you're going to get used to it when there's a lot of room here. Let's see. We have a 2 by 3 matrix, and the next one has 3 rows and 3 columns. Matching numbers means there is an answer. When you cross those out after you know it works, you'll see a 2 by 3 answer is what we want. So I'm going to make this really as big as I can here. And we're going to divide the rows first. And then we're going to divide the columns next. And I'll have to write really small here because I got to use 3 numbers, actually 6 numbers for each of those positions. So let me get a small size on my pen here. And it's 4, negative 1, 3 to start with. And then the next, I'm going to do that one all the way across here. And one more. Okay, across the bottom, 502. Okay, now I'm ready to fill in the left-hand side of this thing. And I'll use green here. We have the numbers in order 103. So 103, 103. Okay, the middle one is 464. And the last one is negative 512. Okay, now it's just a matter of simplifying all these corners. Top left is going to be 4 plus 0 plus 9, 13. The next one is going to be 16 minus 6 would be 10. 10 plus 12 would be 22. And I'll leave the calculating to you. It's going to be 15, 11, 28, 28, and negative 21. Okay, so that one is done. Okay, I'm just going to help you set up. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do this last one here. It does say to do E times D, so even though it's given to you in the wrong order, you have to make sure that you have E in front. And we have 1/2 here, 2/3, and negative 1/4. Okay, there's E times D. Now, what we have here is a 2 by 3 matrix and a 3 by 1 matrix. Matching numbers tells me that I got to do the problem. And I'm just going to have a simple 2 by 1 matrix here. So what we're going to do here is set it up here. And we're going to divide the rows. But there's only one column, so there's no division that happens in the other matrix. It's just like that. We're just going to have an entry on top and an entry on bottom. So we're going to have 4 plus 6 minus 4, and across the bottom 0 plus 3 plus 8. And now we fill in the column numbers, 1/2, 2/3, and negative 1/4. 1/2, 2/3, and negative 1/4. Okay, a little calculating here, and you're going to get 7 on top and 0 on bottom. So I'll let you do the calculating yourself, and that ends up giving you a little tiny matrix 7, 0 after all that work. Okay, so this isn't an easy skill. You need to practice it, and hopefully you haven't fast forwarded parts of this video because you're going to be very confused if you did. All right, I'll pick up on the next page, which is actually the extension to this, in a separate video.